Welcome to Confessions of an SEO. This is Carolyn Holzman. I share my experiences in SEO as an SEO over the past 13 years and counting. As an SEO tester, I will also share some of the things I'm testing as well as some of the research data that I'm collecting. The views expressed here are my own and do not necessarily reflect Google's because I don't think that they're driven to have yours or my business's best interest at heart. Therefore, I do not regurgitate Google announcements. I watch their feet. So if you're an independent SEO or agency SEO, I get you. If you're a business owner or a stakeholder, believe it or not, I also used to be a local business owner for decades who thought a lot about how to get more customers in business. So let's get started. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 32. This is Week 9 of the summer editions of an SEO. Cooler weather has finally returned to the Green Mountains of Vermont, and I am going to enjoy working remotely for this last week or so. Next week will be the last mountain edition of Season 2. And the following week will be the audio of me crying in the car, having to go back home and battle out the end of the summer in 100-degree heat. Ugh. I think there are 16 more days until I reach the 1-year birthday of the indexation project. Now, I am not under any illusions that the ordinary SEO is going to get excited by this information. But I would say I'm slowly coming to see the value in repeating the same SEO test every day. It yields value, whether it's sexy or not. Who would have thunk it? You know, as a tester, the way testing got started was like the goal each and every time was to make an exciting discovery, which was really fun while it lasted. But it became and becomes a little bit more like F. Scott Fitzgerald. You know, okay, loved your first book, but can you write a second one? Can you do this again? Are we really only as good as our latest SEO discovery? So I'm still at it. I think I'm going to keep testing indexation. I've been talking to some friends about it, and they're really helping me see that it doesn't have to be sort of jaw-droppingly amazing every single day. So, plus I'm super curious in general, and this has really hit me in a way because I really want to understand in a more mechanical kind of engineering kind of way, you know, what exactly is the process. I think the more we understand, the more it can help us. So meanwhile, in this episode, I'm going to be talking up a storm. Okay, so for those listeners who are not SEOs, something happened in SEO world this week. After about 2 months of calm, smooth as glass search engine results pages, there's been very little volatility and movement in general. And when I say like low readings, I'm referring to the SEMrush sensor tool. Now that's a tool that monitors thousands of sites and across numbers of categories, and you know, for some of their keywords, it's tracking their ranking. And if all of a sudden everybody is moving up or down, it doesn't matter. Their little sensor that is rated from 1 to 10, 1 being no movement and 10 being crazy movement. Well, this week we hit a 9.4. It's really cute. They call it the Google Quake on the tool. It's really cute. Well, the thing is, I've been expecting this. But, you know, not because I think it's an update. And an update is shorthand for saying that Google has changed the rules of how they score and sort our pages. So since Tuesday, there's loads of SEOs, some of who I respect, claiming that there's an update that rolled out this week. The proof being offered that this is an update takes the form of various reports that include the following. 1, pages are disappearing. 2, there's a loss of traffic. 3, SEO weather tools are shooting straight up. No duh. And then there is what they call the SE roundtable, the search engine roundtable. Now, they're an online search publication and a new article entitled Google Search Ranking Algorithm Update August 6th. I'll put the link in the description. Now, they do include a little bit of data on the product review update, or PRU, as the cool kids call it, but usually when one of these unannounced update articles gets published, I've noticed a very interesting thing also happens. Now, do I know the full significance of what I'm about to tell you? No, not yet. But a new mobile bot launched on August 5th. And on August 6th, there was a higher than normal reading on the weather tool, which was at 5.6. And that's what they are tagging like an unannounced update. Now, this is not the first time I've seen this. A new bot gets introduced and the weather tools go nuts. Now, it's very often that when that happens, we're told that it's an update. So I'll go back and overlay the dates of the various articles over the data that I'm collecting, because it's really uncanny how those are all timed together. New bot, weather tool points up, article about unannounced update. Bing! I know I've got to publish some of this stuff because you really have to see the charts to get a feel for these cascading bot updates. Anywho, I thought it might be worth a little time to offer an alternative scenario to these update declarations, specifically in light of the high sensor readings this week. So when you see bots looking for specific files like privacy policy or contact us page, think about it. Why would they even want to crawl that? I mean, it's pretty much all the same, and no one really wants to rank their contact us page, right? So everything I'm about to share is what I learned from reading server logs every day. I used to be intimidated by these things and thought they were really only for developers, but now I consider it an essential part of really being a professional SEO. So first, there are bots that call directive files. That's the who, what, and where list of pages to crawl or not to crawl. And then there are the bots that go and pull either just the HTML of the page, and some that go and pull all the pieces, the images, the scripts, everything that's needed to recreate the page on the other side. Now, the mobile versions are always the first to get updated, and then they're tested, the most recent against the former new kid on the block. Now, what's being updated is the Chrome build. Now, this is the part of the bot that permits Google to recreate our pages in all of its parts. So we have desktop and mobile bots. 2 of the desktop bots have no Chrome. And in my chart, that's Googlebot 1 and Googlebot 4. And they arrive every day, like clockwork. And bot 1 usually crawls the directive files. And those are things like sitemaps, robots text files, add text files. And bot 4 usually does just like a little HTML rendering. Clearly, the mobile bots are the darlings of the indexation world. Since May 1st, I've counted 11 different Chrome builds on the mobile bot. Another way of slicing that is that to say, let's say within the last 103 days, on average, that's 1 new mobile bot every 10 days. If you take the same time frame, I've tracked 10 desktop bots. So that's 21 different builds tracked over 103 days. If you slice that, it's about a 5-day average if you just call them bots, desktop or mobile. You're not making a distinction. Now, if I take out the 2 desktop that have stayed the same with no Chrome builds, it's still on the order of 5.5 day average. Now, the order of appearance in these bot updates, it always goes mobile first, and that should sound familiar. And once mobile kind of gets worked out, then the desktop of the same Chrome build number pops up. So it's after that, it's US first, and then you see it in the EU server logs. So let's say mobile Googlebot 10 arrived. It was tested against mobile Googlebot 9. So what does it look like when I say it's tested in the server logs? What does it look like in those things? Well, let's say there were only 2 mobile bots that rolled on one of these days. And then it was like a relay. So for instance, you would have 9 and 10 showing up, and then suddenly Googlebot 11 came online. And then it was mobile 11 against mobile 10, and mobile 9 was left by the roadside with its baby. So when I'm scrolling down the spreadsheet where I'm keeping track of the who and the how many of each bot, it really looks like a waterfall, just kind of like boom, 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 boom. Now, this has gone on for 3 months like this. And in the course of that time, there was the space between June 13th and July 6th when JavaScript rendering of new content turned off. I even tested some existing, already indexed content to see if it was JavaScript as a whole or only JavaScript for new content. Turns out it was only JavaScript for new content. This is where the plot gets interesting. So remember the words to cached version of the page. Now I'm going to share some cool stuff that Google says about its indexation process. Now they say, and I would see evidence of that there are 3 systems in their indexation process: crawl, index, and serve. Crawl is like what it sounds. The bots are in the crawl system. This is where our robots' text files communicate with the next system in line, the indexing. Now, the indexing, as I understand it, it's basically a content parser, the rendering, the process that does the simple crawl and then queues up the content for the JavaScript rendering process. Now, when JavaScript is rendered, it gives a full picture of our content with all its SEO optimizations visible, readable to Google. Now, this system, I sort of see this as like the decider. You know, it decides what to do with the pages, and then so it decides, where the content is ranked in and along with all the content that's already in the index. You know, they have to keep an archive or a cache of the page internally that they don't show externally. So when I hear that, that makes me go, we've been talking about that as this supplemental index. Now, the serve system is how we see what we see in the primary index after all filters and cache tags and everything are processed. Now, that is a mouthful of information, but wait, there's more. In the daily crawl or no crawl YouTube shorts that I do, I speak about rollbacks, pages that were previously indexed but now are no longer findable by their keywords. Now, here's how I would like to characterize that particular phenomena using Google systems. So now I want to describe a rollback is a page that has gone through crawling and indexation and was served, where something happened to the cached archive of that page so that it is no longer able to be served. So what if, hang with me now because we're going to kind of go on my little speculation train. What if testing a new bot against an old one actually requires rollbacks? A section of the index where the individual pages in their cache rendered state are removed. And then the new bot is rolled. And then the same portion of the index is recrawled, indexed, and put through a pre-serve status. You know, are they looking at this newly rendered cached page version to see if they are the same or different as the cache that was there before? So wouldn't this explain the disappearance of website content from a collection of search pages? So now we have a system that is testing bots, crawling page after page. We know they are scoring, indexing, and ranking, but they haven't been serving. See, that could explain the months of little to no volatility, right? So our content has been crawled and recrawled, rendered and re-rendered, testing section after section of the index with the various bots over the last 100 days to see if there are any anomalies that they needed to account for before recrawling and rescoring the entire index. So now we reach this week. Something got resolved in the scenario. As of August 8th, the crawling and re-rendering bots were extremely scarce, like absent. And the weather tool is reacting to all the rescored content that had previously been held back from the serving. But now, right now, that serving door is wide open. So pages that are now scored higher are pushed up, which would naturally push whatever pages were in those spots down. And thus, across all topics in the US, UK, Germany, Italy, Spain, France, Australia, and Japan, the worldwide volatility discounts the fire that was reported this week in one of those server centers in Iowa as the cause of the volatility. Now, with potential system redundancies, how likely is it that a fire in Iowa, while it did definitely injure 3 people, and I hope that they are doing well, but would that fire in Iowa also cause issues in the UK, Germany, Italy, Spain, France, Australia, and Japan? I mean, those guys are reading up in the 9s as well. Extremely high volatility across all of the countries that are listed in the SEMrush sensor tool. So, as I've described it, this could also provide an alternative explanation to what has been presented as proof of an unannounced update, specifically disappearing pages, the loss of traffic, high volatility across the SEO tools. So now, it's a free country. You can go right ahead and cry update. I get it. You know, you don't get too much pushback. No one asks you for data. It sounds really dramatic. Gives people a space to vent, that they're victims of the algorithm, and potentially more clicks over to your site. Or you might consider that as SEOs, we should have more than 2 crayons in our hand. One being the we're doing it wrong color, and the other, there's an update going on color. So this summer may go down as the summer of the continuous bot updates and Search Console cleanup. Time will tell, and so will I. So feel free to let me know what you think, what you've experienced during this data offload serving. You can leave your comments on the Facebook page for American Way Media or in YouTube on the Crawl or No Crawl channel. That's going to do it for today. Thank you for being a listener. Thank you to the sponsors of Confessions that help support this work for themselves and others. And if you would like to support the podcast and SEO research, there's a link in the description. You can also reach it through a short link. It's bit.ly/confessions sponsor. There's 2 S's in the middle. You can subscribe to Confessions wherever you're listening to it, on Audible, Spotify, Amazon. And if you haven't settled on one source for your podcast, you can just Google Confessions of an SEO. You cannot miss it. Let's make more business and success together. As we strive to understand each other and Google better, we're after the same thing. It's been my pleasure to be your host. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the service.